Push. Okay, so hello to everybody. As said, my name is Laszlo BORDOS. I will speak about myself, projects, and especially about the Year of Light. And let me start by showing you, to try to find. I've been studying painting at the Academy of Arts in Budapest, and so I did many kind of paintings in different styles. Finally, that was in 97, 98, finally arrived to a very minimalistic style. Hey-ho, because to be honest, I became frustrated by the appearance of, by the spread of computers. And as a painter, it was a strong frustration that when I realized that with painting, I can't speak to the people of today, the people of that time in 97, 98. And so this one was one of my last paintings. And but before that, I had some conceptual work, like this was interesting in a way. It is written in Hungarian, this painting should be started here, or here, or here. And then I was really searching for a new tool, and I found by accident the 3D animation as a potential tool for artists. And I joined a group called Optimal, which was a very underground of Budapest, with DJs and VJs. I was this guy here, Psyhawk Killer. And so we did many parties, and as probably many of you did, I started to do VJing because during the learning process of 3D animation, I created lots of abstract animations, which finally I wanted to show somewhere. And well, installations and animations and VJing and so on. Finally, life took me to meet some guys who did architectural projections quite early, but these were done with industrial slide projectors. And I joined the team called Ray Painting, and we did these projects. My task was to do 3D visualizations and to calculate where to put the slide projectors. And this was in 2002, mostly 2004. I quit in 2005 because from here, as you know, it was one step to arrive to moving image. But the first generation of very good high brightness, high resolution projectors appeared only in 2005. And yeah. And by the appearance of the good projectors, projection on buildings was made possible. So, yeah, just let me go through. Yeah, and VJing, lots of projects. I had some commercial projects. One of my first 3D mapping projects in Paris was in 2007 at event. Then I was, I don't know, it was a very strange situation because I was very, very poor, and I knew that I had to do money, and I had the luck to be part of huge projections which were quite early in 2007 and 2008. Like the Euro Disneyland projection in Paris. And well, this was a huge projection. For most of the time was I mean, it was one of the biggest projections in the world, but I have some codec issues. Yeah, so this was, I don't want to show you, you can see on my website, but this was a 300 meters projection, and one person is like so small here, you can imagine it was quite big. This was a commercial work. Where I could try technical equipment which I would have never been able to try as an artist. So it was good in a way, but otherwise I was really frustrated that I'm an artist, why do I have to do commercial jobs? And today I don't think that's a tragedy, because it happened many times that by doing commercial jobs, I could finance a few art projects out of it, and I could even help friends to do their installations. So actually, it's a good thing to do money. In 2009, I had the opportunity to do a test projection on the Eiffel Tower. Unfortunately, the project was unreleased due to crisis. And so on. I had many projects, but starting with 2010, I wanted to finish more or less with showbiz and commercial jobs. And from now on, I can show you a show reel which starts with 2010. This was in Shanghai at the Expo, World Expo 2010. It was an abstract background scenery animation. Well, this was another work commissioned by the government in Hungary. This was a very interesting project, the inauguration of a new car called the Lexus in 2009, and it was a 250 meters large projection. I still do VJing now and then. This was at Time Warp Holland. I think it was in 2011. Yerevan, National Day of Armenia. It was the first time to work with symphonic music. And I tell you all this because at the end all these things became relevant for the last projects I had in the last year. So this was in Budapest again, and you see exactly what is possible to do. This was in 2011. The music is signed by Amon Tobin, and I wrote him and his management to let me use his sound. And so it was really difficult. This sequence, for example, with the human, I finished this animation like 2 hours before the show. It was really crazy. This was in Timișoara in Romania, and the client asked me to give a message to the young people that they should go inside the museum was filmed in a way, and you see, and then the building comes alive. Okay, I had a very interesting project in Moscow for a Russian pop singer. It was a very good job, very well paid. I should shorten the story. And yeah, you will see, it's really crazy. I mean, you know, sometimes I made an artwork, then when I did too many artworks, I had to do some money, and I had the luck to be part of big projects like the African Football Cup closing event. Budapest again. So, yeah. Finally, we arrived to 2012, the stereoscopic projection in Geneva at the Mapping Festival, which became a big hit. It was a good project. I loved it. Is anybody here who have seen this live? Cool. Yeah, Quebec in Canada. You know, I was always interested in using, beside geometry and beside questions of perception, I was also interested to use figurative elements inside abstract animations. This was a project for a theater in Budapest, where I used the projector as source of light, and it was a really interesting experience, especially because the guys who called me, they are young actors, and they called me that they want to do a good project. I said, okay, do you have money? They said no. I said, okay, let's do it. So it was. I even rented the projector for them. It was crazy. Mapping Festival Geneva again in 2013. The interesting element was that I used stroboscopes live. In the past I did piano, so I just asked the technician guys from Mapping Festival to connect to a light controller with 8 stroboscopes, so I was playing there like and yeah, another interesting project for the French tour of a French singer, Mylène Farmer. It was very interesting project because I had the chance to work together with the stage designer of Pink Floyd and U2, so it was a funny project. Inauguration of the new Jaguar car in 2013, Chinese tour. So you see, I had quite many types of projects, and it's really insane because I just took the projects as they arrived. Definitely I did some selections. If I didn't like something, I didn't take it. But yeah, you see, that's why, and you know, I loved very much in a while that all the projects are different. It was very important for me to not do the same thing 2 times. Now as I got older, I think I can do similar things. This project is the very first permanent outdoor projection mapping in Europe. It's located in Hungary, and since 2013 it's going every night, every evening, even in winter time. Palace of Culture in Romania, in a city in Romania. You will not believe me, but I finished this sequence on the plane. It was really insane. It was a local legend about a woman, that's why it was. And one project which brought me to another level, I think, was a project in Norway on a Gothic church in Stavanger. And you know, it was like after doing lots of VJing and lots of very fast changing images, I was like, okay, hey, just calm down and do something and let the people see, you know. This was an installation called Speedrun. The Speedrun is a new geometrical form. Well, new, it was invented by a Hungarian designer, a friend in the 80s. And this is a stereoscopic installation. I had a tour in Europe in few places. I had the chance to take part of a dome projection. The project you have seen before in Norway, that became a kind of Ars Poetica, and I did few variations. The last one was at Signal Festival in Prague, which is the more developed one. I will show you soon. Yeah, opera. It's a very interesting field to work in an opera. I love it. And since then I had 4 projects in operas, and it's really cool. It's a different world. Yeah, it was 64 projectors. I was the supervisor and art director of the content creation, and I show you. I had 2 minutes. You do what you want. Oh, sorry. I had 2 minutes. They told me do what you want. So that's the single abstract thing. All the rest is like really showbiz. But yeah, it was funny. And I did this project 2 times. It was in 2014 as well, and I can't speak in public about that, but I will tell you the story if somebody is interested. It was really soul-killing. And in 2014, when I heard that next year will be the year of light, I thought, okay, this is my year. So I quit all the commercial jobs, and before 2015, I worked with many people. I mean, what you see now in this showreel is 90% of my handmade work, but inevitably, so in the showreel there are few things which are not done by me. But the thing, what I want to say is that I've been working with many people, and then in 2014 I decided to do the art projects alone, because I kind of felt like a painting, a sculpture is not done by many people, it's done by one person. It might be also an ego problem, I don't know, but I had a clear vision of what I want to do, and that's why I started to work alone in 2014. And then in 2015, I did only art projects, finally. I can show you a few of them. Mexico City, Palacio de Bellas Artes. It was the Filux Festival for 4 nights, 2 million people in 4 nights. It was insane. I have an interesting story. The organizers of the festival called me, "Is it true that I will use colors?" I said no. And they called me back, "But please." I said, "Sorry, I can't." And the end of this show was quite tragic. You know, Mexico City is sinking. It's a big problem there, and it's not an optimistic end. But yeah, and Signal Festival in Prague. So this is my Ars Poetica, with the collection of methods and animations. I think were good to show. And it was funny because I was here in Girona last year as well, and after the festival I went to Barcelona. And I had a really inspiration from the La Sagrada Familia, and I kind of used Gothic elements at Signal. This was in Karlsruhe. The project was important because it was curated by Mr. Peter Weibel, an artist I respect very much. 185 meters, if I remember well. And here again, the idea was to let the people see. And finally, a project in Australia called Asynchron. They invited me to do a projection on 2 buildings, but I will show you this animation, so I will stop it now. Yeah, so that was my show reel, and let me see. Yeah, I still have time. Yeah, so Year of Light, it's really interesting because, you know, when I learned about Year of Light, there is Year of Light, I was like, oh my God, this is a good sign, this is fantastic. It's all about light art, everything is related to light and art. It's true, there were quite many projects. I had around 20 projects during the Year of Light. It was insane. But when the Year of Light ended, you know, I just Googled today what year is now. Do you know what year is now? It's kind of year of some seeds in agriculture. So then I realized that the idea of Year of Light, it was important just for us who do and deal with light. It was funny. But anyway, I will just speak about the projects I had during the Year of Light. The very first one was in Moscow at an opera. The first project in 2015 was a kind of échec because the strength of the projectors I asked was not good enough. So I don't have good quality video about this projection, but it was interesting. Adelaide Festival of Art. So what I would like to say is that, for example, how a project starts, in this case, when somebody is calling me from Australia. The good thing is that nowadays artists don't have to travel to just make photogrammetric or other measurements. It's enough to ask somebody to do a laser scanning. And if you have a laser scanning, they can send you the scan, which is, it depends on the resolution, but it's a very, very punctual point cloud data, based on which you can build a 3D model, a very accurate 3D model. Since 2015, 3ds Max, which I use the most, has point cloud module implemented, so you can work based on a snap to vertex. It's a really time-consuming work, so I have somebody who is doing that for me because I don't have time to, I don't have 1-2 weeks for modeling. And so the good thing is that you receive a point cloud and then you can work based on that. But in this case, they asked me to do the setup for all the artists who, sorry, I tried to, I don't have a PowerPoint presentation, sorry for that. And so this was the setup with the 24 projectors. And it was really insane because I had to do a setup which was used by all the artists. I think there were like 10 artists. And it was a huge responsibility to do it, you know, from Budapest, and you work on something which is on the other side of the planet. But it works really cool. And this was the final template. Sorry. I don't know Spanish, sorry. So this was a template, what you see in the middle. It was 20,000 pixels by 1080. So it was a 20K resolution. Okay. I don't know this feature. So I would like to show this animation. It's like 6 minutes, but at the end of my artist talk, actually, you know, it's. I will better show you the animation, and that's all. I mean, there were many exhibitions, projections around the world. And one interesting project was this one for the Van Gogh year. I know it's not a extra big 3D mapping project, but it was a very interesting work commissioned by the Glow Festival, related to 120 years of anniversary of Van Gogh. And it was so crazy because I was asked, few artists were asked, David Quayola as well, and I don't know exactly who else. And we were asked to do something in the memory of Van Gogh, and it was so hard to find an idea that I cancelled like 5 times my participation. I really can't do anything. But then they didn't let me. So it was funny to come up with an idea to build the painting in 3D animation. And this is the famous potato eaters. And to move the source of light from the painting to play with shadows and lights, and by doing that to change the characteristics of the figures. Yeah, that was shown at Globe Festival in Eindhoven. And yeah, Asynchron finally was shown in Miami as well, Form and Substance, in December. And so at the end, I will just like to show you the projection. Sorry. Yeah, I will not take your time anymore. If you are interested, you can see all these animations on my website. Oops. Sorry guys, it's here. So this is 6 minutes long, and I will just make some few comments. That here again, the idea was to do a projection. I was invited to do a projection on 2 buildings in the same time. And one of the buildings was the Parliament of South Australia in Adelaide, a classic style, and the other one was the Festival Centre quite next to the Parliament, which is a modern, postmodern building architecture. And my idea was to deal with the similar content, to do a content which is pretty much similar on the both architectures, and to see how the same content behaves on a classic and on a modern building. And the second point was to see how much the buildings will change the animation. And the title Asynchron comes from the fact that these 2 venues were like 500 meters one to each other, and the technical team used different media servers, Pandora Box and Watch Out, I think. And it was impossible to create any platform to have it, to launch the video in synchron. So the first show in the evening, this was projected for 3 weeks. The first show started every night at 9 o'clock through phone, like, okay, push 3, 2, 1, 0. And the first one was quite okay, but with the time, they really changed, and because it was impossible to set a synchron, I called it asynchron. Yeah, and here again, the idea was to really let the people see. Above you see the animation itself, and on the bottom you see the 2 buildings. One single animation. So I had a file of like 35,000 frames, a big one. Oops. finally, I couldn't solve to render it from one file, definitely, but that was an idea, which probably worked more or less. And internet connection, I think, will not let us to watch entirely. Yeah, okay, so I have it on a pen drive. I really don't know how to make full screen out of this, so yeah, I don't know, you can watch this on my website.
Thank you, Laszlo.
Huh? Yeah? Thank you. Ah, yeah. Yeah, no, I pressed... Have you seen? Huh? Yes, and maximize. Yeah, so something like this. Yeah, but the resolution is really strange on this one. Or the codec. Yeah, so after lots of VJing, I really wanted to let the people see. Just go to the end. Sorry, guys. Thank you very much.
We'll do one thing. While Mariona sets up her computer, you can ask a couple of quick questions that will have quick answers to Laszlo. So, who's first? Don't be shy.
Amar.
Amar.
Hi, Laszlo.
Hey ho.
I have a question regarding the Adelaide asynchron
Yeah.
stuff. The concept behind the thing and the visuals. Is there any kind of special treatment? Why did you choose this kind of simple container where you tried to see how the projection and building will interact, or it was just like a first thought and you just followed?
Yeah, you know, due to the projects, I usually have like 5, 6 months in advance. I usually I prepare in mind the next project. So because everything became so fast, and for example in the Year of Light, every month I had the project. It was really insane, and it's really insane when you want to show that you can do new things and you have to do very good things. It's really insane, but in order to do that, I prepare in mind the next steps, like thinking forward 3-4 months, and I just wait for a building. For example, I was waiting at Signal Festival as well. I was waiting 1 year for the Gothic church, St. Ludmilla. So when there is a concept with this type of content, okay, I have the idea of the content, but I'm waiting for the building and for the occasion. In some cases, this comes in a good time, in a good way, and like when I have luck, then I have an idea, and then a project comes, and I'm so happy. Like I was, for example, this year thinking a lot on moire and op art effects, and then Vasarely Foundation invited me, and I was like, wow, cool. Yeah, so I usually think in advance, and then I apply to a building. Yeah.
First of all, congratulations on your work.
Thank you.
And I wanted to ask you, seeing that you've been working with opera and theater, if you are thinking or working with some dynamic mapping, something that you could do tracking and mapping at the same time.
Yeah, it would be fantastic. Today there are very good tools to do that. Since I don't have programming background, I can't do by myself. But nowadays there are solutions. Like example, the Kulux Pandora box has an implemented system of tracking, which works really good. Since few months I started to learn Touch Designer, and Touch Designer is a tool where you can do anything you want. But it will take years for me to achieve that level. In any case, yeah, it would be fun to project on movable objects. Especially for an opera scenery, would come perfectly to have something moving, and then you can change the set. And since you have sensors, the projection will follow the surfaces. Yeah, it's the next step. Yeah, so there is still hope to have a future of mapping. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, Laszlo.
Thank you.